only a mild jolt. Pictures of Sheila in the papers weren't unusual. Seldom, however, were they accompanied by revelations of this sort. The Barringdean shopping centre was on the outskirts of Kings Markham, on the site of the old bus station. By day it was swarming, but at night the centre was left to its fate. At 6:15 each evening the caretaker locked the entrance in Pomeroy Road, then went off home. On the opposite side of Pomeroy Road, short terraces of Victorian houses alternated with small blocks of flats. Directly facing the gates, in one of the houses, Archie Greaves lived with his daughter and son-in-law. He spent his day sitting in the downstairs bay window watching. This evening was misty, and by 6 it was black. The gutters of Pomeroy Road were clogged with fallen leaves, the plane trees almost bare. Beyond the open gates, lamps lit the car parks that were fast emptying. A young man came running out of the gates, going as if all the devils in hell were after him. Or store detectives, Archie thought. The boy passed out of sight into the misty dark. No one was pursuing the boy. People who were leaving at leisurely pace looked on and, like Archie, expected to see retribution coming. But the darkness absorbed them as well. The lights in the shopping centre started to go out, and the caretaker came and padlocked the gates. At 6:30, the light came on in the phone box. By now the shopping centre was in darkness, and only the lamps of Pomeroy Street, an array or so from the mouth of the underground car park, faintly lit the area behind the gates. And into this a little woman walked, having perhaps come from the car park lift, Archie thought. There was anger, repressed and contained, revealed in the deliberate way she moved. She came to the gates and got hold of them, as if expecting they would open, as if the padlock would fall apart, and she began to rattle them. Her eyes were on the phone box, which was only a few yards from her, but tantalizingly outside those gates. She shook the gates more and more violently, and they clanged and rattled. And she was shouting now, screaming. She was stamping her feet and shaking the gates and roaring at the top of her voice. Archie put on his raincoat and made his way out onto the pavement. "The police! The police! I've got to phone the police!" Archie crossed the road. He said, "Making all that fuss won't help. Calm down. What's the matter with you?" "I've got to call the police," she shrieked. "There's someone dead in there. There's a woman, and they've tried to cut her head off." Archie went cold all over. His throat came up, and he thought, "My heart. I'm too old for this," he said feebly. "Stop shaking those gates now. Come on. You stop it. I can't let you out." "I want the police," she shrieked, and fell to lean heavily against the gates. "I want the police." "Mind you, I knew things weren't going well with her and Andrew," Dora said. "Knowing one's daughter's marriage is going through a bad patch is a far cry from reading in the paper that she's getting a divorce. I think you mind more about that than about her coming up in court." Wexford made himself look coolly at the newspaper. The lead story was the trial of 3 Arabs who had tried to blow up the Israeli embassy, and there was a picture, too, of Edmund Hope, the strikingly handsome prosecution barrister. But the page was Sheila's. There were 2 photographs. One showed a wire fence topped with razor wire and mutilated by a gaping hole through which could be seen a hanger. From the other photograph his daughter's lovely face looked out, wide-eyed, apprehensive. Wisps of pale curly hair escaped from under her woolly cap. The headline said, "Sheila cuts the wire." The story beneath told all the painful details of arrest and magistrates' court appearances, and that the actress currently appearing in the television serialization of Lady Audley's Secret was seeking a divorce from her husband, businessman Andrew Thorverton. "Well, I would have liked to be told," Wexford said. "About the divorce, I mean. I wouldn't expect her to tell us that she was going to chop up the fence round a nuclear bomber base. We'd have tried to stop her." It was then that the phone rang. Inspector Michael Burden's voice was cool and curt, anxiety underlying it. But he nearly always sounded like that. "There's a dead woman in the shopping centre car park. It's murder." "I was there myself," Wexford said wonderingly. "Only a couple of hours ago." "That's okay, nobody thinks you did it." Burden got a lot sharper since his second marriage. "I'll come over."